Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going through my Sunday meal prepping routine. Lately I've been kind of out of this routine and I was bound and determined this week to get back into it because I miss having my food already made for me and take some guesswork out of the week. I find asking the what's for dinner question every day draining. And if you like videos like this, push the red subscribe button and you won't miss any of my future videos. My husband Connor and I have a typical Sunday routine. First, he will make us coffee and I will plan what we're gonna eat. Then we both will take our dog Oakley to the dog park and we will stop at the grocery store on the way home. And since I plan what we're gonna get at the grocery store, him and I are out, you know, in like within 15 minutes. And it is a great, efficient way. I'm all about efficiency in the kitchen. I love to cook, but I also like to get things done quickly and with the least amount of pans to wash possible. So what I do is I sit down with a pad of paper and make a list of what meals we're going to have for the week. So I like to kind of divide up the week in 2 chunks of time. I include like Sunday lunch, Sunday dinner through Wednesday lunch. And then what I'll do is I'll go to the grocery store. I'll plan again on Wednesday, go to the grocery store after work on Wednesday, and then I'll kind of do a mini meal prep on Wednesday night as well. That way it's not like overwhelming to try to guess what you're gonna be in the mood for Friday. It's hard to think that far ahead. This week, what we're gonna do is smoothies for breakfast, which I make smoothies the night before, just so they taste fresher in the morning. We're going to be prepping our lunches and dinners. So basically what I do is I'll divide up what we need at the grocery store by section. So we start at the produce section first, so I'll make that list. Then we go to the meat section and I'll get that. Then the dairy section, get that. You've probably heard stay the perimeter of the grocery store, and I really find that to be true. We get majority of our food at the perimeter. So the produce aisle, the meat, the dairy, and then we'll pick up a few things in the aisles at the ends. So to the meal prepping, I like to lay out everything before I start. And this is gonna be a fun one because I'm gonna kind of show you how to make 2 meals out of the same ingredients just to cut your work time in half. So for lunches today, Connor loves chicken burrito bowls. So he has requested I make those for him and I'm just like not in the mood. Normally we eat the same thing, but I'm just want something different. So I decided to do like a chicken Asian salad for myself. The chicken that I'm gonna make, I normally buy just chicken thighs. I'll go to Albertsons is our grocery store down here, which is equivalent to like a Kroger, Meijer, very basic grocery store. I get the boneless, skinless. They're normally $2.99 a pound at Albertsons, so not that expensive, which is great. And I'll just get the big pack and I cook this whole thing. First, you wanna start with the thing that's gonna take the longest to cook. For dinner, we're gonna have some type of fish and then some roasted vegetables. And I got Brussels sprouts. The Brussels sprouts today did not look good in the produce section, so I just got the pre-packaged Brussels sprouts. Normally I don't because they're more expensive. So what I do for dinner is if we're having fish, I will cook the fish fresh that evening. I will pull it out from the freezer normally, put it in the refrigerator the night before, let it frost, and then I will throw it in the oven, and that's only like a 15-minute process, so that's easy to do on a weeknight. But what I'll do is, since Brussels sprouts take about 45 minutes to an hour to roast in the oven, I will roast them for about 30-ish minutes today. So then that way I can just throw them in with the fish when I'm cooking it. It'll warm them up as the fish is cooking. I said I'm all about that efficiency. And so I'm gonna start with these. So I'm getting them in the oven at 400 degrees. And then I'll move to cutting up vegetables and throwing on the rice for Connor's meals. And I know this is gonna sound like a very overwhelming video, but I've been doing this for like 3 years now, and I've really figured out a process for us, our portion sizes, where it's gonna work out perfectly. So what this is gonna make 4 lunches for Connor, 4 lunches for me, then I'll do our dinner for tonight, Monday, Tuesday, and then we will get going. Okay, so I'm gonna start by cutting up the Brussels sprouts, and what I like to do is I'll have my cutting board and I'll have the pan, which I just put a little bit of coconut oil and I'll have it right next to me. So I literally can just chop, put on, chop, put on. so I have all the Brussels sprouts on my sheet pan. I already put some coconut oil on. I just like the flavor of coconut oil. It adds a little sweetness to them. And so I put a little bit on. I melted this a little bit beforehand, but I put a little bit on the pan before, and then I'm just gonna kind of coat the Brussels sprouts in the coconut oil. What I find very helpful during this whole process is, so I have this trash from the Brussels sprouts, and so I try to clean up as I go along. So I'm just gonna go throw this away. But first, I'm gonna put the Brussels sprouts in the oven, and we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna start is the rice. I like to use this as a base because it's an easy thing to just throw on while I'm doing the rest of the cooking. Half a cup dry, and then I will put in a whole cup of water, and I will bring it up to a boil, and then once it starts boiling, I'll bring it down to a simmer, and I'll let that sit there for 15 minutes, and you have rice. Next, what I'm gonna do is cook the chicken. So my chicken is gonna be more of an Asian type flavor, and Connor's chicken is gonna be more Mexican for his burrito bowl. So what I like to do is I start with this base seasoning. So I will do Lawry's seasoned salt, and I'll do some paprika, cumin, because I love the way it tastes. It adds kind of like a Mexican type flavor, but it's just such a good, strong flavor. So I will just use these three things. First, I'm gonna put back the rice because I'm already done with it, and I'm gonna put back the cup I used because I'm finished with it. And this is just still with the process, because when you get to the end of meal prepping, you wanna have as little to clean up as possible. For the chicken, I make chicken thighs almost every single week, and I cook them the same way almost every single week. We have a cast iron skillet, and I love using it for this recipe, but all you would need if you don't have a cast iron skillet is just an oven safe pan. I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil in onto the chicken. So I'm just gonna go ahead and season them, and then I'm gonna put them in on the seasoned side down, leave it like that for about 2-ish minutes, and then as that side is cooking, I'm gonna season the other side, and then I'll just flip them after 2 minutes, let those sear for about 2 minutes, and I'll throw them in the oven at 400 for like 10 minutes. That's the same temperature the Brussels sprouts need to be at, so it works out really nice because I can cook two things at once. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start doing the chicken. Okay, so before I get started on the vegetables, my rice is done. So I'm gonna take this over and I'm gonna divide it equally into 4 containers for I'm just gonna take a can of black beans, and I'm gonna divide it equally into Connor's containers. So his little container is ready for the vegetables on top, and then the chicken. Before I start on the vegetables, I'm gonna go ahead and wash the rice pot because I'm finished with it. I washed that pot and put it away so I don't have to worry about that anymore. So now I'm gonna start on the vegetables, finally. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chop up some bell pepper, part of a red onion, and then just this leftover zucchini. What I'm gonna do is I already put coconut oil in the pan. So I'm gonna chop up these vegetables real quick and then get them sauteing in the pan. Okay, so now I have all my vegetables sauteing, and so what I like to do is I'll just put like just a little bit of water, and then I'll throw a lid on it, and then that way it kind of steams them. So after I start steaming the vegetables, I went ahead and got out the chicken thighs, looking awesome. I just threw a hot pad down and then I put the cast iron skillet on top of that so they can cool down just a little bit. And then I got my Brussels sprouts out. They're all done, looking great. So we're moving right along. So I'm gonna go ahead and just let those Brussels sprouts chill for a little bit. I'll let them hang out right there on the pan. And then same with the chicken thighs. I'll get to those in a second. But I'm gonna whip up a quick sauce that I'm gonna add with my meal to make mine just a little bit Asian-y. So I'm gonna start on my little Asian-y sauce. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just put it in this little bowl. So I'm gonna take just maybe like 2-ish tablespoons of olive oil. I don't really measure anything, to be honest. I'm gonna grab a spoon real quick. So olive oil, I'm gonna take some raw almond butter from Whole Foods. It's just in their bulk section. And I'm gonna probably do about a cup because this is for like 4 meals. So an amount of almond butter in there. Some rice vinegar. I like it, it adds a nice flavor. It has some good acidity. So maybe like 2-ish tablespoons of that. Also gonna add some minced garlic, just like a little squeeze of this, about a tablespoon. I don't like to put too much garlic in because I'm taking this for lunch and that can get aggressive. Then I have some fresh ginger, grate some of that into the sauce. The thing is with fresh ginger, you have to be really careful with this. With fresh ginger, I can really taste the ginger flavor versus if it's just like a powdered ginger from the spice section. So that's why I do this fresh. And this is just a zester, and just a little bit will go a long way. So there's that, and so I'm gonna rinse this off immediately and clean it because I'm done with it. That's clean and dry. And then, so I added that, and then the last thing I'm gonna add, coconut aminos. I'm gonna put a good amount in, probably half a cup, but it's a soy sauce alternative. Ooh, sorry. And it has a lot less sodium, it's gluten-free. It has a really sweet taste to it. I really like it, I really enjoy it. And I just like how it doesn't have all that sodium. I just went ahead and turned off those vegetables. They've been in that water for about 10 minutes. And so now I'm gonna, so I actually just went ahead and uncovered those vegetables because they were getting pretty steamy. And now I'm gonna let them saute just like for another few minutes, just to get a little bit of that extra water out. It'll evaporate. So I have my sauce and I'm just taking a spoon and I'm just gonna mix it up. So it's gonna really have like a nice Asian-y peanut sauce. Normally I would add red pepper flakes to this, but I don't have any, so I'm just kind of rolling with it. And you know, just kind of give it a nice mix because I'm gonna heat this up with some vegetables so it will melt the peanut butter, or not the peanut butter, the almond butter a little bit. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take half the vegetables from the pan and put them in Connor's lunches, because for the fajitas, you don't really need seasoning on the vegetables. So that's where I'm gonna add my seasoning, make it more of an Asian-y meal. So I already went ahead and added half those vegetables into Connor's containers. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that sauce I just made, and these are the rest of the vegetables. I'm gonna just go ahead and add it to it. I'm gonna continue just to heat that just for a little bit on like a low heat for a few minutes so the vegetables will absorb the flavor. I'm gonna go ahead and put all the ingredients the way I used for the sauce, and then I'm going to cut up the chicken, and I'm gonna put half of it in this pan with the Asian sauce and the vegetables, but I'm gonna put the other half of the chicken already divided up in Connor's containers. So since I already have that base seasoning with the cumin, it's gonna already take on a burrito bowl flavor, if that makes sense. So I went ahead and pulled the chicken thighs from the cast iron skillet, put them on the cutting board, cleaned the cast iron skillet, then I pulled the Brussels sprouts off from the pan, put them in the container, threw them in the refrigerator, and put the pan away. And then I washed the lid for the vegetables, put that away. So now all I have left to do is cut up the chicken and put the meals together. brought the containers over here. So like I said, I'm just gonna take Connor's container that has the white rice, the bean, and the peppers. I'm just gonna divide the chicken that I just cut up equally into the containers. So what I'll do for these to help with like the burrito bowl effect and the Mexican effect, I'm gonna take, well, normally I buy salsa, but we had leftover salsa from, we ordered Mexican one night this weekend. I'm gonna just go ahead and dump the leftover salsa in each little bowl, and then I get the Asian flavor from the same chicken and the same vegetables. This is just a little think of baby kale. I find it less bitter than just normal kale. And I'm gonna put a little bit of handful in Connor's meals. I'm just gonna top it. Just for some more good vegetables and greens. Now for mine, all I have to do, I'm just gonna divide it up into 3 different containers. Then I have a bowl because I'm gonna have this for lunch today. Since I already did all this cooking, I'm starving. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm also gonna do the same thing with mine as I did with Connor's. I'm gonna go ahead and take the little baby kale and I'm gonna top each. All those meals are in the refrigerator now. All I'm gonna have to do is cook the fish for dinners, which will take about 15 minutes tops. The Brussels sprouts with that. And I have lunches for the week. My husband has lunches for the week. And that took me about 2-ish hours, under 2 hours to do all that. And now I'm not gonna have to think about the week. I will plan for my grocery on Wednesday and I'll kind of do the same little thing. You know, this was a ton of information at once and I've really gotten the multitasking down to a T. It really took me a while to do so, but it pays off every time I do this. Now, since I cleaned throughout, all I have left to clean is my cutting board, my tongs, and my big pan that had all the vegetables in it, and that is it. And I have nothing else to put away because I already was putting it away as I go. That is all I have for you guys today. Now I feel ready to go for the week. I have all my meals ready. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comment box below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.